Welcome back to State of Texas. We now rejoin Nexstar Media Group's special recap showing of the Democratic U.S. Senate primary debate as we jump ahead in the presentation.
Texas is becoming a hub for AI data centers, which can drive up water demand and utility bills. So how do you ensure the Texans get the benefits of AI without paying higher costs for water and electricity? You have 30 seconds for this.
Yeah, it's not even just the higher costs. Those are actual issues that we're going to have to deal with. But it's also the supply. Right now, we're dealing with the fact that there's a winter storm right here in the state of Texas. We don't know if our grid is going to hold up, and we're talking about these data centers that are actually pulling on us even more. So what we've got to do is, again, make sure that we put a framework around these, but we also have to work not just on the federal level, we have to work at every single level of government with our state and our city and our county levels, because we're going to need some zoning put into place. We're going to make sure, right now, I'm working with one of my cities on a similar issue. We have to make sure that we protect the people that live in these communities first from these dangers. The final point that I'll make about the water, it's not just that they're taking our water, it's that they're polluting our water.
Mr. Tallarico, 30 seconds for the same follow-up question. How do you ensure the Texans get the benefits of artificial intelligence without paying higher costs for electricity and water?
I mentioned in my opening statement that I've traveled every corner of this state. I was up in Amarillo, Texas, for a town hall, and I stayed to the very end, meeting with every single member of the community. I can't tell you how many times I heard about the data center being built in Amarillo, and it was done without the consent of the community. And so in the US Senate, I will fight to make sure that these AI companies pay for their own energy and they don't pass it along to consumers. And I'll make sure that we work on sustainable water infrastructure, because Texas is running out of water and these data centers are exacerbating that problem. And so we should tax these companies, we should tax these technologies to pay for that kind of infrastructure.
Let's go ahead and go in depth on skyrocketing healthcare costs.
What do you see as a fix or an alternative to the Affordable Care Act? Mr. Tallarico, you have 60 seconds.
Well, I believe healthcare is a human right that shouldn't depend on how much money you make or what zip code you're born into. This is personal for me. I was 28 when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. My first 30-day supply of insulin cost me $684. I couldn't afford that, so I put it on a credit card. That's because Big Pharma has a chokehold on the healthcare system in this country. They have a monopoly on the insulin market. So when I got elected, I took on Big Pharma and their lobbyists, and we passed a $25 insulin copay cap. And then I passed a Bernie Sanders idea through the Texas legislature to import cheaper prescription drugs from Canada right here into Texas. That's the kind of bold leadership we need at the federal level. We have to reverse all the cuts made to the Affordable Care Act, and we have to allow every Texan and every American the chance to join Medicare. I think universal coverage should be a non-negotiable in the wealthiest country in human history.
Ms. Crockett, same question. What do you see as a fix or alternative to the Affordable Care Act? You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, so I am a proud sponsor of Medicare for All. I signed on to Medicare for All my first term. I'm currently a sponsor of it. I also signed on to a bill that Lloyd Doggett has. It's called the Care Now Act. And what this would do is force a state like Texas to end up expanding Medicaid. We know that in the state of Texas, we lead in uninsured in this country with over 5 million uninsured. What we've not talked about enough is how many Texans are actually on the Affordable Care Act and how they are impacted by these tax subsidies that were rolled back or allowed to expire in January. I was proud to say that while the Democrats are in the minority, we were able to go ahead and force through a vote in the House on extending those tax subsidies for 3 years. But that's basically a Band-Aid. And frankly, we were able to get that out of the House, but we are still waiting on the Senate to act. I think that this is about making sure that people understand that they want us to be pitted against one another. They want us to believe that there's not enough money to do it all. But the reality is that our budget is about our priorities. We have a multi-trillion-dollar budget. And so if we truly believe that everyone should have access to health care, we can make that a reality with bold leadership.